Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're halfway through the day, still 2 more series. Coming up next, though, right now it's going to be the Shanghai Dragons going up against the home team, the LA Gladiators. Both of these squads vying for those playoff positions, and right now Gladiators sit pretty near the top.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams are very close to each other in terms of skill right now. I think most would agree that this is one of the closer matches projected for the day. You can see the schedule here remaining for the Gladiators. They had only the loss versus the Titans. Decent series for them. Yep. And then they've got Dragons now, Defiant, an opponent that most expect them to beat, and then Titans again. So looking like this win pretty much guarantees them in the playoffs you'd expect. For the Dragons, on the other side of the coin here, 2 matches versus the Charge. Again, an opponent you'd expect them to beat. And Fusion looks winnable right now, given their underperformance in this meta. So if they could win this one right here, I mean, they could have a pretty decent seed if they can get those expected wins.
Yeah, so kind of, must win for both of these squads. I mean, one of the biggest reasons that Shanghai might be able to take this series is going to be Ding, because this guy, he's been pulling out a lot of different heroes so far. The Sombra, the one that really kind of made him the most famous in the league this season, but then also we know that he can bring out the Pharah, he can bring out the Junkrat, etc.
Yeah, I mean, you could see that his Diva win rate is by far his highest, but it's also the one he's played the least. So that does skew the statistics a little bit, and it's also been, in more recent times, we've been seeing him play the Diva while Shanghai is doing well. Envy on the roster now. Didn't have his best performance in their last match against the Valiant. Maybe we'll see him come out today, but I'm thinking we're going to be seeing a little bit more Ding.
Oh, well, very well could be. We're going to find out in just a moment. Not bringing out the Shanghai Dragons yet, but we will start things off with our home team. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage. It's the LA Gladiators.
It's been a great season for the Gladiators. If you're an LA Gladiators fan, you feel good right now. In this meta, this team has really stepped up to the plate. We say it every time. Decay joining the roster really solidified their ability to play really good 3-3. And in this meta, they're countering Sombra play effectively as well. The Gladiators look solid, and this should, on paper, be a good matchup for them versus Shanghai.
We'll see how they fare. Shanghai going to be one of their tougher opponents so far, aside from the Titans. Let's go ahead and bring them out. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome them, the Shanghai Dragons.
The Dragons are also fan favorites here. Finally breaking that streak, that awful losing streak. 42 losses in a row. The 43rd, they won it. And that was a long time ago now. It took a while before people started to really trust that the Dragons could do more than break a losing streak, that they could make a playoffs. And now they're looking very good in this meta. So they've been running Sombra since the beginning, and now that Sombra has become the standard and not the niche, it's a great time to be a Dragons fan as well. With Ding on the starting lineup, we will not see Envy, at least not at the beginning of this series, so you have to expect we'll be seeing more Sombra-oriented compositions on at least our first map of Control.
Yeah, very likely. If they're going to be running those Sombra compositions on the side of the Gladiators, it's really going to come down to Shaz and Big Goose to try and deny those EMPs away, make them less effective. We know that these guys are fantastic at doing that. Shaz being one of, if not the best Zenyatta in the West. Big Goose, another phenomenal Lucio player. So if anybody can shut down Ding's EMPs, you'd expect it to be those two.
I have to say, I mean, I've been saying it all throughout this stage, but I really do feel that Shaz is the best Western Zenyatta player right now. And he's shutting down EMPs effectively. He's dealing with Graviton Surge as well. I mean, he's not a flashy Zen. You know, you don't expect him to frag out. You don't expect him to get those poke kills. But in this meta, that's not really what's as important when you're dealing with, both EMP and Graviton Surge at the same time. Big Goose as well, one of those players, hitting the EMPs when he needs to, finding himself hidden, and avoiding those crucial moments where he could be hacked.
Well, taking a look at our map set presented by Toyota. See, we're going to start things on Oasis, then move into Volskaya for Assault, Eichenwalde for Hybrid, and then Dorado again for Escort. You and I already had one series go the distance to map 5. This one, as we said, another expected close series. Maybe we can make it to map 5 again.
Certainly a possibility. I think it's going to be on the Dragons to step it up tonight. Lost versus the Valiant. Resurging Valiant, to be fair. But, they lost to one LA team. Maybe they could take down the other. But you're going to have to, hope for a better performance of the Dragons here tonight, because a little bit lackluster with Envy joining the roster. They will start, of course, Ding on the Pharah. as we discussed earlier. And, you know, this is the best map to see the Pharah. Gamsu started the season on the Wrecking Ball. When he first switched over and the team was building around him. Now it's kind of a staple of these Pharah comps. Tracer, not the Widow though, for the Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the second time that these guys have squared off against each other, if I'm correct.
Now,
but you have to keep in mind, this is, you know, Roar and Decay going up against their former teammates, vice versa.
And this is also Decay swapping over to the McCree here to try to deal with this Pharah, but he doesn't have sightlines at the moment, and that's what's so frustrating as you're playing McCree. Oh, it's not a great matchup, but you can't see the Pharah because of these walls.
Yeah, definitely not. Already just shutting him out over here on the flank. Decay, sliver of HP, one more rocket does finish him off, and Shanghai, they start things off quite strongly here on Garden.
And this is, on Garden, you know, you could see where Ding is playing in the air here in such a way that there's just not a good opportunity for Decay to get shots off. And if he is challenging the Pharah, it's usually in a small enclosed space where the Pharah has support. And I mean, Youngjin's even playing the Brig here, so they even have that extra burst ranged armor. Look at this, I mean, he just can't get a shot off, he can't find an angle. He's trying so desperately, but the positioning of Ding is too good.
Yeah, gets that flashbang there. On to Youngjin, they take him low, looking for the finish. Everybody else gonna get pushed back. Decay again under a lot of pressure. Defense Matrix is out from Void, but he's still gonna get knocked out of that mech by the barrage. Now Shaz left exposed. Weekend has to be careful as these rockets just keep on flying. One more wouldn't finish him off. Can't quite get that. Drops into the low ground. Stand up there for the moment. Manages to stay alive. Not sure if we're gonna be taken down. DM's into the back line. Gets rid of Shaz. To chase down onto the bottom, gets rid of Decay as well, and things look fantastic for the Shanghai Dragons. Certainly resurging after that loss to Valiant.
You're not building as the Gladiators really any impactful ultimates here. Even the Transcendence and the Sound Barrier aren't that great against what the Dragons have and how they're holding. You want to be able to win this fight without using them because they're going to be more useful defensively than offensively here. Decay, I mean, you can just see he's losing the matchup versus Pharah. Even the Pharah he's trying to counter just because of sightlines. And it's tough.
Roar himself under a lot of pressure. Pulse Bomb not going to be used here by DM. Would have almost certainly resulted in a kill as the Primal Rage is not available yet. Jump up onto the high ground. Roar trying to displace them. Primal just about ready. Pulse Bomb out from DM, unable to find anything. Barrage comes through from Ding and Decay. This time with the Jedi manages to take him down, but DM is instantly there to punish the McCree. Roar finds another one as Luffy gets eliminated. Now finds the corner here onto Youngjin. They will be able to clean up the kills, and the flip should be coming through in favor of the Gladiators, but it's at 99%. Shanghai Dragons is going to be looking for the flip.
But here's the thing, now that both support ultimates are gone, Reinhardt Zarya can come out to play. You could absolutely make a swap here. They're going to keep the Sombra with this as well, because this is what their playstyle is, and you know, why Ding is on the starting roster here. You use the Pharah to get control of the point. Now he's forcing the Gladiators to run back and swap as quickly as they can with Big Goose taxiing, but they've given away their positional advantage, and the Dragons are coming in here with 99-0 the advantage. They should be able to build ults quickly and flip.
Roar getting that bubble, pushes up, gets some swings in. Shield Bash comes through, they're desperately trying to keep him alive. Gonna be dashing out into the back, gets that little health pack that's trying to stay sustained. Self-destruct from Void does manage to take down DM, and Ding's got a sliver of HP, so will not be building up the EMP here in the rest of this fight. Shanghai Dragons gonna be losing the neutral here.
That's the best way to put it.
He's in charge for that EMP, but otherwise really looking the way of the Gladiators for now.
Killing DM early too means that he wasn't able to build charge in the longer fight.
Yeah, 50% behind.
Yeah, 50% behind. I mean, we know Decay is the better Zarya in terms of just the individual player on that hero at the moment. The X factor is going to have to be the EMP here, and Ding is getting closer to that. Shaz can transit, and then DM is behind on grab, so that's a concern for the Dragons. They don't have their 1-2 punch combo.
Okay, taking a lot of poke damage here. Trying to top up that energy. Graviton Surge ready to roll. Luffy nearly has that Transcendence, so can help mitigate. EMP gonna come out first. 4 members packed out on the Gladiators, but Shaz is good for the Transcendence, keeps them all topped up. Now the grab comes in. He's gonna be popping the Transcendence of his own. The pin from Roar gonna be good, takes down Youngjin. Beat now gonna be used from Kolma as the Shatter comes down. Catches 2, answering Shatter, also catches 2. Roar and Void both gonna be hitting the ground. Now the beat comes through from Big Goose. Bob at the back from Void, looking for a pick, manages to find Luffy. The grab comes in, but it's right at the front of the point, and the kills are coming in favor of the Gladiators.
That neutral fight won them this round. You know, you mentioned it earlier. Decay building the grab 50% ahead, killing DM first, keeping that ult advantage, because how the Shanghai Dragons run their Sombra goats, which is how most teams run it, is you try to abuse the fact that there's only one trance, but there's two ultimates that need to be countered. And when you don't have your grab, sure, Ding hits the EMP, but Shaz does not get caught. He doesn't mess up his trances. You know, that's why I'm, pushing this so hard that I really believe, and I think most people would agree, that he's the best Westerns in Yada right now. He's so good at countering EMP in particular. And when you don't have that follow-up grab, why are you running the Sombra Zarya, right? I mean, that's the whole point. And when you get owned that hard in the neutral fight, Gladiators are just going to take that advantage away from you, take that threat away.
Well, no Sombra for themselves. The Cage is going to be sticking with that Zarya. A bit of a Lucio battle up on the wall. Good poke damage going through. DM nearly taken down. Gladiators trying to get entrenched onto the point. Top everybody back up now. Decay gonna get melted. DM just comes out of nowhere with the damage and absolutely obliterates his opponent Zarya. Now the push forward comes in. Shanghai Dragons looking for some extra kills, extra charge. Jazz manages to find one, but the fight very much goes the way of the Shanghai Dragons.
Yep. You can see Decay still matches the Zarya charge this time though, because he was able to escape, wasn't picked early. That's the advantage of living long in a fight as Zarya. You can keep your energy too, which does decay over time, no pun intended, but it will stay up there and it makes it easier to re-engage as Decay will do now. Shaz will have his trance ready, but remember, it's what I called it the 1-2 punch. I mean, it's the EMP and then the follow-up grab that you have to be worried about.
Nearly there, 10% away. They know exactly where Ding is at. They're looking for him, but he's got the translocator placed up top, so he jumps back, stays safe. Roar taking a lot of damage, however. Nearly getting picked off, but the healing is not fast enough. EMP comes through, catches 4, but again, now 5. Shaz does have that Transcendence ready to go. As the healing expires, however, the grab has come through and Roar gets taken down, but it's a trade on the Reinhardts. As Gamsu gets taken out of the fight. Decay gonna get picked by DM again. Shanghai Dragons look to maintain control, now approaching 50%.
Gladiators need to leave too. They need to leave faster than they did, because in this fight where you've lost control, you're giving another third of a grab charge to DM. Ding takes 57%. Now of another EMP, in that retreat, the Sombra could chase you. The Sombra is just going to, drain your life into her EMP. And Chaz is only halfway to another trance, but this is going to be the same problem they had before, but perhaps in a 99-0 split.
A grab to start, Decay just slaps that one down. They charge Gamsu out the back, and again, he's going to be unable to use that Earth Shatter. They get rid of Luffy's Transcendence. Have the fight, but can they get the flip? They start capping this one. Seems like Dragon's just going to be peeling off, showing respect, not getting overzealous. They know that time is on their side. They know that they have these ults coming up, so just allow the Gladiators to get on the board.
And the Gladiators need to try to win a fight without their support ultimates here. It's going to be rough. I mean, the EMP is going to be the start of this.
Oh, self-destruct into the back from Void, looking for a pickoff. Unable to find one, but Sure gets a kill at the end just moments before that peek comes in from Coma. Answering Shatter comes out, knocks 3 to the ground, I do believe. Now Rourke going to be taken out by Luffy. Still swinging away. Bubble comes up in time for Decay. He actually turns around and kills off Gamsu for another exchange on the Reinhardts. Now the Gladiators push forward. They win the fight, the point's still theirs.
Too trigger happy were the Shanghai Dragons. They thought perhaps the EMP would give them a grab and they could build another EMP quickly. But that was a lost fight from the outset. Ding used his EMP there. He was hoping for that turnaround, but was not meant to be. They could have held those ultimates and come back here with no trance to counter.
Yeah, nearly there. Building up that energy now. Looking for somebody to pressure. Get that next Graviton online. Drops down in the pit, picks up the Mega Pack. Grab now comes in, solo onto Youngchin. They take the break out of the fight. Now pushing forward, they absolutely melt through Luffy. Shanghai Dragons, still an opportunity to contest here. It's only 64% for the LA Gladiators, but they need this fight to be the one to get that flip, to close out the round, and take us to one final map on Oasis.
I think they have to rally in this fight, try to get an EMP for Ding, and win that really long fight where he's going to build it. Because if you try to play greedy here, if you try to play the opening with the grab, I don't think it's going to work out for you. There's the rally from Youngjin. They are going to try to play that slower fight. 13% away is Ding.
Waiting for his moment, throws it right here. Onto the entrance to the point, flip nearly coming through. Bomb now going to be out. Looking for that self-destruct pick, unable to find one. Void makes it back into the mech, but doesn't really have the last ability. Will get taken down. Kettle from Gamsu going to go wide. Do that one inside of the point rather than outside. Now Roar pushes up. Manages to find one, and it's Coma, and the pin is good. Roar takes him down, still under some pressure, trying to survive. Grab comes in from Decay, they clean them up. Dink gonna be taken out, you would expect. They hit 99% for the Shanghai Dragons, but the flip is here for the Gladiators, and they are just a couple % off.
Void's remech there, and the charges from Roar are gonna bring this back. Incredible from the tank line.
Young Jin get picked off, Gamsu comes forward with a wrecking ball. Gets that sound barrier to try to survive, but the shields are dwindling, now eliminated. The OT starts ticking away faster and faster. One final tag in from Coma. Now DM on the Tracer. It seems like it's just a matter of time as Roar goes forward to stop anybody else from the Dragons. We're pushing forward here onto this point. 2-0 on Oasis. Gladiators, they start off the series with a win.
Roar taking the lives of his former teammates, Coma, Luffy, Youngjin, and turning that fight around. It was clearly a lost fight until that happened. I mean, he saved the day and won them that first map 2-0.
Fantastically done, but close in percent for the Dragons. Let's see if they can tie us up when we come back for their next map.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Into the iris.
Огонь по готовности!
Into the iris.
All systems checked out. Hammer down!
Axiom, top of the primal range, but it does not matter! Ladies and gentlemen, history has been made! The Shanghai Dragons, on the 43rd attempt out, managed to pick up their first match victory!
Feels like a really emotional moment here. They've waited a long time for this. They finally did it.
A little bit of history, a blast from the past era. Shanghai picked up their first win. That moment has been nominated for an SB alongside London Spitfire taking the inaugural season championship. So make sure you guys go to twitter.com/ESPN Esports and start voting on June 23rd. Support the league and your favorite teams.
History made for the Dragons, but, you know, in this stage where a lot of people favor them, especially given their schedule to make playoffs and to look good inside of playoffs. Everyone was really hyping them up at the beginning of this stage. They fell flat against the Valiant, and it's a rough start here against the Gladiators so far. Their MO is very predictable at this point. As we head into Volskaya, no subs, so we will not see Envy. So you have to expect that we'll be seeing more Sombra from Ding, but you've got to win those neutral fights in between those moments where you have the EMP and the grab. Otherwise, you're just simply going to get outclassed. You've got to be able to maintain the build on both the, Sombra ultimate and the Zarya ultimate in order to make those things work together in conjunction against a solo Transcendence from Shaz in this case. So I do feel that it's a slippery slope here for the Dragons in a lot of ways. If this map looks the same and they get shut down in a lot of these neutral fights before the EMPs are ready, or the Gladiators come in and take fights before Shanghai can really set up, then it might set a bad precedent for the rest of the series. We'll see the Pharah first at least, though. A change up here for Volskaya, for the Dragons. You see them play Pharah quite a lot compared to other teams.
Just pushing forward with a wrecking ball. Gamsu sticking to this one. Nice little hit there on the Roar and Decay. Just kind of getting battered around. Swing from the ball into the custom blast from Ding. Decay cut off from his squad. Might get picked and he can't get behind the shield in time. Does get taken down. Already Shanghai Dragon's going to be snagging a tick here on the point. Youngjin stunned up for the moment. Will get cut down by Surefor.
Nice stun by Surefor there. That actually changes everything. They don't have the sustain to stick on this point anymore.
Oh, this is the worst feeling. As a Widowmaker, and he actually does get picked. Shaz comes up with that kill. Red's going to be there from Coma, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to turn the tide.
It's going to be close, but I think you're right. I think that the Gladiators should be able to just outlive this. DM doesn't have an angle.
Youngjin's dead again. Decay comes up with that hack and kill, but Shaz gonna have the better of taking away here by DM. Come up that crucial pick, and now Void gonna be knocked out of the mech. So a lot more to work with here for the Dragons as they make their way back over onto the point, but they nearly have that second tick coming through. Roar manages to find the pin onto Luffy, takes him down. Big Goose tries to survive. Ducking and dodging behind that shield, now cut off from the point inside the garage, gonna try to rejoin. Second tick still not there, now gonna be coming online for the Dragons.
Really nice play by Roar there after a small mistake to let his Zenyatta get sniped.
Charges across to get on the high ground, but Big Goose, he gets caught out by himself. Youngjin coming back off that Doomfist now on the Soldier 76, kills him with the Helix Rockets. That's a very crucial pickup now. Roar going to be taken down. Things start looking better and better for the Shanghai Dragons. You'd expect that they cannot really play this far forward anymore. Will get cleaned up. The cap will come through. 6 minutes plus on the clock for Shanghai with some ults coming online. Nearly that nano to try to keep Ding alive through a barrage.
Yeah, it's the Soldier 76 and the Widowmaker getting into the right spot that allows this push to happen. Now, the Trance and the EMP are the best answers for this barrage set of Minefield.
Uh-oh! Alone on a walkway, Shaz gets taken down. Decay uses the EMP, but DM snipes him out of the sky. Only caught 3 members, and none of them are taken out. Big Goose now gonna get picked by DM again. Void pushing up, trying to make Ding take himself out with that barrage, but instead just finds death. It's knocked out, and right here, it looks like Shanghai Dragon's gonna be having that snowball cap coming through.
Yep. Looks that way. One more chance here with the Trance.
Jump up onto the top, DM under some pressure, just backs his way out. Winston Bubble now gonna be gone. Big Goose under some pressure. Nearly get rid of the Widow. Now Youngjin taken down. Widow still under fire, slowly trying to get picked back up. Gets a shot in on Void's mech, but Gamsu is gone. So they get close. 67% snagged here for the Shanghai Dragons, but they're not gonna be able to snowball this.
Yeah, they're not able to do it, and a lot of this, again, is the problem of this composition, is it just doesn't have the sustainability that's required to win a longer fight against a team that has respawn advantage and is just going to... You have to get those consistent kills in general on assault maps, and when you're running against a comp that has a lot of tankiness, has a lot of healing to it, then if you aren't getting them consistently, eventually they're just going to wear you down. You're going to run out of... your tank's going to die, then you just don't have enough sustainability to live through that next fight.
Straight back over onto the point, full reset here for the Shanghai Dragons, given the swap over to the Sombra Goats. Big Goose hacked out for the moment, does have that barrier online, now going to be using it, catches everybody on his team. Hacks continue to be thrown in, this time now on the Shaz, but it's going to be Roar, the first one eliminated here for the Gladiators on this extended defense.
Great, this is a really good position now for the Dragons. DM high energy.
The corner found Surefor there, nearly took him down. The Transcendence is barely keeping him top down. Now Luffy going to be using his own. The healing's going to be gone. Surefor gets eliminated. Bomb into the back. Void manages to find DM, and Gamsu's going to be taken down. Front line going to be broken. Now the healers being eliminated as Shaz sits comfortably in the back.
That's an unbelievable self-destruct from Void, and I use the word unbelievably quite literally here because I think in this case DM just didn't expect that to come out at that angle or at that timing. It was such an odd self-destruct, but he knew the bubble timing there, and he kills DM, and that's it. I mean, you can't win the fight without your high-energy Zarya. He could have built a grab if he lived, and they could have had the EMP combo set and everything with no Trance to counter. So that's a huge move by Void. Risky, but it pays off.
Still, we'll be able to get that Graviton Surge online before Shaz or Big Goose can have their ultimates to counter.
He'll do it in the EMP fight, so Ding is going to initiate this.
As long as this doesn't get interrupted or botched, we expect things to go quite well here for the Dragons and maybe even just finish the point right here. Rally going to be out from both sides. Roar falling low, now eliminated. DM comes up with a kill. Grab comes out from Decay. EMP to counter. Decay going to be taken down. Now the beat comes through from Coma. Shaz has that Transcendence, but he just cannot use it to hack. Lasting a bit too long for him. Can't get that through, and now the cap rolls in. 2:50 on the clock. Shanghai Dragons, they get beyond Volskaya.
I would have thought with a great time on A that they would have ended up with a better time bank, but very resilient are the Gladiators, and they could absolutely crush this time bank, especially if they just run traditional 3-3.
Well, 250 in the bank. Let's see what Gladiators can net for themselves on their attack.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Rain from above.
Pass into the iris.
Helden sterben nicht.
Into the iris.
This.
But an extinguisher is not required.
Огонь по готовности.
And here we go, back into the action for the LA Gladiators attack. 250, the time to beat established by Shanghai, as they were able to get that finish here on Volskaya. Had to work for it, though.
They certainly did, and I mean, a lot of those fights were clutched out by the Gladiators, and the tank line in particular. Void, again, coming up big with the Diva self-destruct, what he was famous for back in his Kongdu days, and obviously later on in the Overwatch League for quite an extended time. He's been consistent, right? Dragons are going to put Ding on the Sombra. He's going to go for a greedy charge here. There's no, McCree or anything like that to stun him up, so he gets away with it too. 1/4 of the way there. That's a great start.
Yep.
And DM, leads charge slightly with those right clicks, so everything's going well for the Dragons here on paper.
Yeah,
And
fat 2% ahead.
yeah, hey, 5%.
It adds up.
It's 5% ahead now.
It is now.
But the angle here for the Gladiators is to try to force the Dragons to drop down, and that's never where the Sombra wants to engage, is on the point itself. So I like this style.
Oh, Algamsu dropping down quite aggressively. Hey, trying to get up in his grill, but Surefour is going to be the one taken down.
Nice headshot there by Luffy.
Yep, Tick still being grabbed for the Gladiators, though. The point is not being contested, so they get just for halfway to the second tick now. Decay gets a very nice angle. That damage combined with Void just cruising through. They clean up 3 instantly. Ding just about to get that EMP online now, has it, but he's going to have to use it defensively at B.
Yeah, and that's Decay getting 100 energy in that fight. A losing fight is often, or a nearly lost fight, I should say, to clarify, is usually when the Zarya is going to get that energy so quickly because so much damage is being absorbed in those moments. And Decay then just blows everybody up. EMP's the counter here to this double cap. Shaz is hiding as best as he can.
Oh man, Transcendence comes out. A bit of a panic here from Shaz. See how much that could potentially cost them here in the fight. Up over the top of the Translocator. Hiding around the corner was Big Goose. Does not get hacked out. Tries to keep everybody alive, and so far no one's going to be going down other than Gamsu. So Gladiators maybe actually able to turn this one around. Roar keeps going lower and lower. They're trying to finish him off. Will finally be able to do so as one gets popped out of the back. But the grab comes in from Decay. Beat hits. Big Goose trying to keep everybody else topped up. Decay keeps falling lower and lower. Drops down, gets that Mega Pack. Seems like Shanghai Dragons have held them off for now. Void still presses forward, however, pops out with that self-destruct. But is not able to find a pick, and now Decay's gonna fall. So Shanghai Dragons, they gave up a tick, but they still maintain control of the
They
point.
certainly do, and they take a nice ult lead here as well. They put so much emphasis on making sure Decay was hacked. The EMP, then the follow-up hack there meant that he couldn't grab until way too late in the fight, despite his high energy. And how scary that was there for a moment for the Dragons. They made sure that he couldn't make that impact until it was too late in the fight. Void wasting self-destruct there, looking for another Hail Mary, is going to come back to bite them potentially as well here. And You know, Shaz panic trance in the last fight because he had to. I mean, can't blame him. Let's see how it works this time with Ding's next EMP as he's built it up faster than Ding.
Yeah, 15% here. Ding is looking pretty good on that build time. Could be an EMP Shatter set up here. Gamsu has that Regener ready to go. EMP comes in, Transcendence is down from Shaz. Shatter gonna drop. Manages to find one, it's Roar, but Gamsu gets pooped over the side, nearly taken down. Barely manages to stay alive. Now comes in the Shatter. Youngjin gonna hit the ground. Roar looking for a pin. Gets one, Gamsu, sliver of HP, now gonna be finished off. The grab comes in from Decay. They clean him up, only Luffy left standing, or floating rather, on that Zenyatta. But the cap is coming in. And that'll just be the finish, 442 to 250. Gladiators, very nice time bank.
Decay is a god. He comes in there, blocks the healing as well, hits the grab, gets those kills there with Roar. The tank line of the Gladiators is playing phenomenally in this series.
Absolutely.
You love to see it.
Nearly a 2-minute advantage here for the Gladiators as we get ready to go into overtime rounds, but let's see who comes out on top. And here we go. Get strapped in. Decent time banks here on either side. Could be seeing some extra rounds coming through for both of these squads. For now, though, Gladiators will start us on the defense. Going to be looking for that full hold at A. Try to drain down that 250. The Dragons have the time bank.
Youngjin was, you know, he had more success on the Soldier. He was bashed by Surefour multiple times. He was isolated. He was ignored. And it's I think, going to be a similar story here with this because Surefour is so good at countering Doomfist. He's a great Brigitte player. Let's see how it pans out this time. If he can find that punch, that rocket punch he needs so desperately. That's all it takes to open this up and get a decent time bank, all things considered. Easier said than done, though, even for Youngjin.
Ding just going on a hunt because the Gladiators kind of give him the wraparound. Not really playing in the traditional positions that you would expect. Ding doesn't find too much, builds up a third of that barrage, drops into the back. Oh, so close to the health pack, but Shaz shuts down the hopes and dreams.
Youngjin, you know, he just doesn't get the connections that he's looking for. The Gladiators are playing so far back, like you said, not playing traditionally, but avoiding all the strengths of the Dragons, be it rockets, sightlines for DM, or just Youngjin, so no one can get slammed into a wall. And now they're going to try to cut them in half and catch Gamsu.
Oh, yeah, and I think they might have done just that. Looking to get taken down. Decay does get sniped by DM. So a very crucial opening now. Gamsu manages to survive. He gets out of that kerfuffles. Just kind of zips his way over onto the point. Still taking a bit of damage off screen as DM hunts for his next target. One tick nearly grabbed. Finds a shot there on the Void. D-Matrix comes up as he tries to escape. Shanghai, the point is theirs right now. Gladiators have to try to take it back. Punch comes in, displaces Roar. Shaz pops a Transcendence. Trying to keep everybody else alive. Shot comes in, Surefour gonna be taken down. Binkus, oh, he's ready for the Infrasight. Just a moment before it comes in. Now Void gonna get knocked out of the mech. The heal deny onto the Baby Diva as well ensures death. Shanghai Dragons, they break through, they cap A, they get that 30-second bump.
It's the All-Star Widowmaker 1v1 champion, and I mean, you give him the line of sight, if you give him the opportunity, if Roar walks one step too far forward, the shield's not blocking the backline, he's gonna find those angles. He hits Surefour on the side, and he's gonna stick with this. They have the Doomfist also for extra disruption here. They could put the Gladiators between a rock and a hard place here with ultimates.
Definitely what they're gonna be looking to do. Meteor Strike coming out from Youngjin to start things off, dropping down on top of Void. Doesn't get the most damage, now gonna be sucked and absolutely blown up, but it's at the cost of Roar, who is in the back by himself. So two members on either side, both kind of limiting themselves. Now gonna get picked off, the barrage comes in, Dink finds a double, and things continue to look fantastic for the Dragons as they get this snowball cap with time left in the bank.
You can't shut down everything. There's a cooldown on that sleep dart.
Roar leaps back in, only at 40%. Nano gonna be coming through. DM still taking these pot shots, looking for a target. Spots one up into the air, can't get the hit there onto Void. Second tick gonna be snagged and Big Goose goes down. Dink follows up, he gets rid of both supports by himself. He and Koma up in the skies, just sniping him on the ground. We're over into the back trying to stay alive. EMP comes out from Decay, but the health bars of the Gladiators are just absolutely in shambles. And Ding, it just seems like this guy cannot miss. He's had to finish off Big Goose, and the point will start capping again. 20 seconds left to go. The Gladiators just trying to push this into OT. The barrage instantly meets Surefour, though, and they will finish barely with time in the bank. That's all that matters at the end of the day, keeping those hopes alive.
That is all that matters. Ding threading the needle on his first push there, where he was able to kill both supports with the barrage. He sneaked in, no one knew where he was, and Void wasn't in position to D-Matrix, so he gets the double kill, then follows up and just does enough consistent damage as the Gladiators members desperately trickle back onto the point to try to hold it, and you're never really going to stabilize in a moment like that. To be fair, the Gladiators did almost as well as they could have to delay that, given the situation. It was almost never going to be winnable, barring a huge mistake from the Dragons. As you mentioned, ideally they would have wanted to bring the time bank down to 0, but I think it to 17 does give the Dragons a chance at victory if we see a completion here from Gladiators. They can hold this too, but given how the last push went, it's going to have to be a lot better of a defense here for the Dragons, as they got stomped by Decay on the previous defensive setup. So it's the neutral fight in the mirror that they're having so much trouble with in terms of those types of fights. And I think as risky as it is and as greedy as it is, running the Far Widow is just your best bet here. Hope that Roar steps out too far. He's done it a few times. Give DM line of sight. Let DM do what he does best. Let Ding do what he does best. And don't try to walk into the mirror where Decay is just outperforming in the Zarya v Zarya.
Working their way forward. Not going to be seeing the Sombra here. Ding up over the top, starting to apply that pressure. And Gladiators say, yep, nope, not gonna mess with that. Not with this comp. Change things up.
All right, it's going to be the Sombra variation, which excites one.
Okay, and Surefour's on the Widow.
All right, so
Surefour versus DM, something that we did not get to see at the All-Star event.
It won't be a 1v1 in this case, but we'll see opportunity for that duel. And it's a lot of the time it's going to be on Decay and Roar to give Surefour that space and give him that opportunity to hit the headshot onto his rival in DM.
Or body shot, because that's legal in this.
Certainly true.
That will still do damage. Pushed up over the top. Ding already going to be knocked down to about half HP. Tries to stay alive. Ball into the back. Gomsu applying some pressure, but Surefour still untouched. Back, and that's going to be Koma taken out of the fight. Gomsu now hacked, pushing forward. No need to scope in, just hold left click.
Very much, I mean, how a strong Widow player looks is just, it's all about the sight lines. There's the 1v1 we wanted to see.
Yeah, very close. We're going to get res back in, Surefour wrapping around. Doesn't want to go to the high ground, because he knows that would be predictable. So around the side, DM does manage to take down Roar, but they have to get to the point now.
Yep, they can contest this with Gomsu wrapping around the backside. Shaz is vulnerable.
Yep, taking a lot of damage, and DM comes out on top. Surefour taken down, Big Goose and Shaz both eliminated. Shanghai, they hold on. Gladiators, they don't even get a tick.
Yeah, and the opportunity presented itself with Gomsu coming around the backside, threatening Shaz. I mean, it's not fair to say it was a 1v1 duel that DM won because there was a lot of extra pressure.
Still a good look here for the Dragons as they continue to dwindle down this time bank. 240 going to be remaining here for the Gladiators.
Ding is going to have a barrage here coming up in this next fight, and Gladiators are probably going to have to force a fight before that can happen, or at least threaten him so that he can't use it. I mean, sure, it's up to Surefour to put the pressure on Ding so he can't really even walk out and expose himself. But DM with the vision here, the infrasight.
And now Surefour going to be taken down. Young just coming up with a double, gets rid of both of them. And now both supports going to be gone as well.
He had the nano boost, and I mean, if you get into a position where you can get those bashes off, and then just you have the extra sustainability from nano, you're basically invincible as a Brig in this case.
And this is honestly such a great defensive setup here for the Shanghai Dragons, because Decay, he's nearly got that EMP, but they're playing so spread out. You've got the Pharmacy in the sky, you got DM off on a flank, Gomsu constantly wrapping around. You're not really going to be given much of an opportunity unless they massively misplay with their positioning.
You're not.
You're not going to get an opportunity to get all 6 people.
We saw last time too on B, Decay wasn't able to hit the Pharah at all.
Luffy though, caught off on the side. No chance of healing coming through, and just like that, maybe the EMP not necessary.
Well,
And Surefour falls down to 5 HP. He's like, guys, please, I'm in the back here. Somebody's got to heal me up.
It'll be useful for B, that's for sure, as this looks like an A take 100%. Luffy's already over onto the Zenyatta here. He's going to make the swap.
Yeah.
I think Ding should probably do the same, despite the fact that he holds this barrage. It's going to be tough to find value in that.
Taking a couple of hits from the mines, but otherwise going to be fine. A minute and 40 on the clock. Jump over to the side. We're going to be swapping out for that Reinhardt. Do they want to make... No, actually, okay. What the stick with the Winston?
What an interesting comp the Dragons are going to run too, is Mercy Zenyatta with the Pharah Widow. I mean, the Discord orbs will make it easier to get those critical picks, but you don't still have a great way to deal with Decay. They've got the Brig, and that's the only way they can really shut him down. This EMP, as long as he doesn't mess it up, should be huge.
Playing with fire here. Okay, wrapping around the side. He sees Luffy. He sees Young Jin. Young Jin with the spy checking. EMP comes in. He can't get around the corner fast enough. Luffy going to be taken down. Finish off that Brig. Hack in the middle of the res. Can't bring anybody back, but Coma does manage to survive with that Valkyrie just flying off to the side. Surefour gets picked in the meantime. They look to take this one up. Big Goose goes forward with the help of Roar. They get rid of DM, so now that Widowmaker, that crossfire, is not present. Ding still holding on to the barrage. Has to be worried about Void getting up in his face. They're going to be taken down. Ding, however, going to be eliminated. No barrage in this fight so far. First tick nearly snagged. Void goes low. Self-destruct up onto the high ground. Just trying to make it back into the mech. Drops that one down. Barely makes it, but actually no, gets the 9 DM, the last possible frame. Gets rid of that Baby Diva. Now the rest is back in onto Ding. Still has that barrage. Surefour going to be taken down. And it seems like Gladiators, they might actually get stopped short here. 16 seconds remaining. Shaz dead now. They need the stretches. They need to try to get this cap.
I know, they really do. And Youngjin, I mean, he lifted so much of the weight on that last defense. Ding still holds that barrage. He's had it for so long. Maybe it'll be time to see it. Minefield going to make it tough to engage. Decay can't even touch.
Now he barely manages to get it there. That last couple seconds coming through, but Big Goose going to be sniped out of the sky, not by TM, but this time by Luffy. He gets a shot onto Surefour, takes him down. A celebratory barrage. And the Dragons, they tie us up 1-1.
Seeing a lot of hero swaps here. We're seeing a lot of countering of compositions. This reminds me in a lot of ways of the first series we cast today, Kilios. And we're tied up 1-1.
Yeah, it's starting to feel that way. Like I said, maybe could go all the way to Game 5. Time will tell. But next up, we have halftime, so stay tuned.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Pass into the iris.
No one can light
The Dragons are trying to avoid going 0-2 versus the two LA teams this week, and they're locked into a tight battle with the Gladiators right now with things all even at 1-1 at the break. What's up again, everybody? Malik here with So Inside Show. You know what we do at halftime. We break down the first half, guys. So far, very close matchup. Got some pretty cool stuff in this first half, though. Got a potential, matchup between two of our Widowmaker champions, between Shore 4 and DM. That was fun to watch, but it's been a good half.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen a bunch of DPS. Kind of the first map decided based on the Sombra usage.
Yeah.
And the second map, we didn't even see the classic Ding Sombra because he came out with his Pharah, which is so unbelievably good to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, his Pharah is actually insane. And I think it was the main reason why the Gladiators really struggled. I think they tried to really commit a lot of resources to shut him down. And overall, that just started to get really, really messy.
It was messy indeed. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights. Starting off with Oasis. This was a matchup that it looked like Shanghai was going to run away with it, but the Gladiators, they got right back into the game.
I think the Gladiators have got a great read on how Shanghai plays. They really prioritize running a lot of DPS heroes, and that means that you can just take space on the map away from Shanghai. What I mean by that is you can just push into positions, and Shanghai are forced to move back and move away from you. They can't take the direct fight. And Shaz was so good at countering these EMPs.
Yeah, it was actually insane. That must have been so very frustrating for Ding because Ding's EMPs were really big. Like, that was where majority of time it was 5-man EMPs and the team was ready to follow up, but each and every single time it was Shaz right there. I think he also really committed a lot of hacks, mainly on Shore 4 as well as DK and Big Goose. So Shaz was just kind of always there to help out.
I will say that play there from Ding, that EMP a little sloppy as well, doesn't wait until the end of the Transcendence to come in, and the rest of his team isn't there really for the follow-up. There's things that Shanghai can tighten up, but I think they like to make it a little scrappy. As we saw in Volskaya, they like when it is chaotic, and they force the enemy team to match them in that kind of way.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at that Volskaya, some of the highlights from that match, because as you said, it was very scrappy, and that's where we got to see that good face-off between Shore 4 and DM, which I was super hyped about.
Yeah, the two champions of Widowmaker.
But Shore 4 winning the Widowmaker 1v1 this year, so this is like our chance to see DM versus Shore 4, and it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even really be able to tell you who got the better end of it. I suppose DM maybe, but honestly,
hard to say.
It was quite a back and forth, and
it was.
Oddly enough, if you looked at the number at the end of the map, it wasn't actually as close as I initially thought. I think Shanghai Dragons ran away with about 30 more eliminations in the very end. So I'm not quite sure where those 30 are actually coming from, because most team fights did look like a little bit of a back and forth to me.
Yeah, I would say so. I think it comes mainly down to the fact that Shanghai are running a lot of things where you can get individual picks, but they really struggle to convert those into team fight wins, because you're just getting one pick with the Pharah, one pick with the Widow, and you still can't push in and take that space because Gamsu's on the Wrecking Ball. You really struggle to finish off all of the kills.
Well, luckily for them, the
Gladiators
Gladiators kind of just walked backwards at some points, or overcommitted forward at that point as well. So yeah, I think this was more or less one on Gladiators' mistakes more than on Shanghai Dragons playing super clean.
What are you guys' thoughts on them running Decay on the Sombra as opposed to Shore 4, who we've seen run Sombra before in the past?
Well, I think the Decay Sombra was more of the case of he got picked early and had to come back in.
Yeah.
And that led to them just wanting to stick on it for the EMP
circumstantial
basis. Yeah, I think that either of those players can run it. Decay had a funny moment actually where he ran into the mines and then panicked through his translocator and bust another mine, which was great.
Which is why I asked that question.
Yeah. I mean, definitely normally you would want to see Shore 4 on the Sombra. Shore 4's made his name on Sombra last year. He's like a bit like Dante, right? Where we know of him, he can be a fantastic Sombra. So
yeah, but Shore 4 can be a fantastic insert
Most
any
things.
hero.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so guys, we got Eichenwalde and Dorado coming up at the rest of our map pool. Who are you guys picking to take this next map? Who is it kind of favor?
Yeah, see, normally I would now say like Dorado, Eichenwalde, not really Sombra, heavy maps, and Shanghai Dragons who have been relying so heavily on that Sombra. You know, they could be on a disadvantage. However, both those maps work really great with Pharah, and Pharah is definitely something they can rely on too with Ding. So I think this could be very, very even, actually.
All right.
Yeah, I think it really just comes down to how the two teams play it, and that's the best Overwatch, right? It really is fantastic when you have two teams that are on a similar kind of level, both teams just underneath where the Spark and New York kind of play, but above the majority of the mid-table teams, and we're really seeing who is the best of the rest at the moment from Gladiators and Shanghai. So we'll see how it pans out.
All right, well, both of the analysts are calling it pretty close. Yo, Blizzard Arena, how y'all feeling? You going for Shanghai? Gladiators? All right. All right. Everybody's calling it close, guys. It has been a close one indeed, but guys, we're getting ready to jump into the second half, so we'll be right back after the break.
And when it comes to in-game communication, if they say some words in Korean, I understand like some of them that have to do with the enemy or some abilities or something like that.
처음부터 게임 많이 하고 서로 이제 얘기도 이제 영어로 많이 하려고 하다 보니까 언제부턴가 이제 좀 자연스럽게 친해지게 된 것 같아요. 이미 많이 친해요.
Justice reigns from above. Feeling much better. Hey. Objective lost. Nerf this. Allah till the enemies of Terran.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're halfway through this series between the Dragons and the Gladiators, all tied up 1-1, like we said, a bit reminiscent from our first series between London and New York Excelsior. So certainly looking like we may be on pace to make it to that map 5 yet again.
It feels that way. I mean, everything is looking very close right now between these two teams, and they obviously have very different styles, and where those styles clash, you know, depending on the map, oftentimes you get an edge or things start to fall apart. Volskaya was one of those maps where we saw kind of both sides of that. You know, Shanghai was forced to play a little bit more standard there on B, but had those moments on A where they could play to their own strengths from far. For example, we got to see Surefour flex onto the Widow. I mean, there's a little bit of everything right now in this meta, and teams are slowly figuring out how to run multi-DPS compositions, and that's when, you know, this is the erosion of what we call GOATs and what we, you know, accept as 3-3. It is slowly eroding away. You can feel the meta changing. It is changing right now across the board.
Yeah.
And that means that, you know, you're going to see a little bit more flexibility. You're going to see a lot of counter swapping of heroes.
It kind of feels like we're hitting that point that everyone's kind of been, you know, having an outcry for online, which is, you know, I don't mind the GOATs comps, I don't mind the 3-3, but I wish that it was more niche. It's kind of becoming that.
Yeah,
we saw that from our first series, you know, with London barely running the 3-3 until last half of Paris, last map on Ilios. Otherwise, you know, it seems like most teams starting to kind of stray away from it. Gladiators still playing around it.
Yeah.
Stomper coming in every now and then, but they're just so good with Decay on that Zarya that I don't really blame them.
And I'm not trying to say that GOATs is dead yet or anything like that.
Yeah,
but I will
put your crabs away.
Yeah, put your crabs away. But I am saying that, you know, at this point, we are starting to see a big trend towards more diversity in the Overwatch League with a lot of our teams. Shanghai is one of the teams that's been kind of playing like this since the beginning, so it's no surprise that they're shining in this meta now. You know, London's the bigger surprise from earlier today, but
For sure. I mean, When Rob and their general manager told me they were going to be doing some crazy stuff, I didn't really expect it, but here we are on the push for the Shanghai Dragons, making their way over towards A. You're running, a lot of the same for them with Youngjin on that Doomfist again. We'll see if he can help break open this point. As, so far, overall, Doomfist has been falling a little bit short for him.
It's the threat of the Doomfist that often gives you an edge. Like, you can see how everyone's playing around him right now with Brigida at the front to stun him if he tries to come in. But it's the threat that sometimes can give you a positional advantage, especially against the Pharah.
Ooh, drop down, Sure4. Not ready for that one.
You just can't see him.
Yeah, need to be able to pull the trigger on that shield bash, trying to knock him to the ground and pick up the kill. Instead, he does get eliminated. Shots coming down into the back of the cake, taking him lower and lower, and Void is nearly out of the mech. So constant, steady pressure being applied by Shanghai, trying to come up on top. DM still going to be eliminated, but nearly 2 ticks snagged by the Dragons relatively for free. Pushed off the side of the map. Roar does manage to find Luffy, but that could cost them greatly as now they don't have that big grind shield to hide behind as the rockets continue to fly from Ding.
Decay is doing the best to beam Ding out of the sky, but the barrage is coming and is getting very close.
Took him low, but now Youngjin gonna go down just before the Meteor Strike can come in, and one half that pharmacy comp has been eliminated. So despite Roar going in for the massive charge onto Luffy, they still actually hold them off. The Dragons, they're coming back in. I mean, you look at that ult economy that they have right now. 6 ults about to be online.
This is definitely a situation that's reminiscent of what you were talking about on Volskaya, where it's like, how many ults can they really defend? I mean, Youngjin got slept when he went for his Meteor Strike, and that might happen again, but they still won the fight because there's just too many ults to counter. I mean, they're even gonna have a pulse bomb with this, one of the rarer ults in the Overwatch League, but hey, this could be what they use to open something up. Any pick is valuable here.
It's been a very slow building pulse bomb. Finally does have that one ready to go. Meteor Strike coming down from Youngjin. The barrage was out from Ding. Manages to find Big Goose. He's looking for a little bit more, but can't quite get those rockets in through the doorway. Transcendence now out from Chaz to keep everybody else hopped up after the Doomfist did get eliminated. 91% accrued for the Shanghai Dragons. Sure4 getting dunked on by Ding. The approaches, they're down low on the ground. Still, the tanks push forward here onto the point, trying to stay alive. Decay going lower and lower. Sliver of HP remaining. They get rid of him as that Graviton surges nearly up. Will get that shielding coming back through and slowly get top back up. Something struck from Void doesn't find any picks, but it manages to buy them some space and buy them some crucial time. Sound barrier now out from Big Goose. The shield starting to dwindle away. Decay tries desperately to get some health in.
I mean, the survivability of the Gladiators is insane, and the tank line is just making it so easy for them to get their respawns in. There's a Helix rocket kill, rarely see that onto the Pharah, but Sure4 really shuts this push down. It's stopped in its tracks now, and the Dragons are going to have to reset again. There's no time for 3-3. There's no time for Zarya swaps. They've got to keep this, but I mean, Shad's going to have a trance. Youngjin's going to need to get one of those opening rocket punches. I just don't know if this can work. I mean, now that they have Sure4 on the Soldier too, it's just so difficult to keep him from running the Pharah.
I mean, one of the more crucial members right now could be Decay. That pulse bomb is available from DM. If they're tracking this well enough, they will know this. If he can get a stick, they can counter it with that bubble out.
Okay, they isolated Sure4, that's what they needed.
Gonna be taken down. Already that pick coming through, but Roar finds Youngjin again. Pulse bomb still online. DM waiting for his moment. Barrage comes down. Void denies a lot of that away with the teammate. Drakes and the Transcendence is out from Shaz. It's not enough to keep him in the mech, but they still find the kill on the Pharah, and now Luffy's gonna be eliminated. Koma drops down onto the low ground. Oh, barely missed time by Roar. Almost instantly pinned Ding out of existence. And now things start looking better and better for the Dragons. They try to get this cap on A, finished off. Roar gonna be eliminated. Shaz comes up with the kill on a Gamsu, but nobody else can tag the point. They get the cap, but it's still in OT, and now there's not much time for the next phase.
We need to see Youngjin get back on the brig here, and I mean, they put Luffy on the Zenyatta, and that is something that he's been doing a lot. He's been hitting a lot of headshots. If you go back and watch his clips from the previous map of Volskaya, I mean, he's hitting big headshots. He killed Big Goose multiple times. He's actually dueled Decay, and I don't mind it. He saw us back to the Zenyatta, but I really didn't mind having him on it even this much.
Oh, he barely makes it around the other side in time to keep himself safe.
Duck!
Under a little bit of pressure here, but otherwise gonna be just all right. DM holding on to the next pulse bomb. Nearly got those headshots through on Decay to finish him off. Gonna be a nice anti onto Sure4. Big Goose gonna be taken down. Roar with a sliver of HP, trying to stay alive. The bubble leaps out, but Gamsu will be able to finish him off. So a lot of room opened up now for the Dragons to start pushing this cart.
Yeah, the comp that the Gladiators are running is based on their ultimates and not really about building a true comp. Like Sureforce staying on the Soldier here was to try to get those free kills onto the Bar Mercy, and unfortunately, you know, it didn't happen. I mean, they dropped down immediately, and so, you know, he hits on a Soldier that doesn't get much value otherwise, and ends up giving the Dragons a lot of extra free roam. Now, the Widow is what I like to see in this case, because it's burst damage, it's an insta-kill. You need that. And the Decay Roadhog as well here is something that you can grab onto and lock up the Wrecking Ball.
A lot of people are happy to see Sureforce back on that Widow. Minefield comes down just on point. Ding going to be taken out of the sky by Shaz. Comes up with a couple snipes. Roar just gets topped back up. Back over here towards the cart. Beat's going to be coming through from Gladiators. As the res comes out onto Ding. They know that he's got that barrage. Lead forward here, pressure into the back. Ding manages to finish off the K actually, but now the Primal Rage comes out from Roar, trying to buy some time. Barrage there from Ding, flips over to the side, making sure that he doesn't kill himself off, and Diama is just going on a killing spree. Off screen, triple kill coming through for him at least. And that's going to open it up.
There's no Brigida when Sureforce trying to counter the Pharah, and that's a mind game that happens in this. When Sureforce on the McCree or the Soldier or the Widow trying to shoot the Pharah, then you've got the Tracer with value. Let's watch this again. He has free reign. The reason why Tracer was so meta last year was because of her damage output. She just has an insane amount of damage output while also having survivability, and you can see it here when there's no Brig. Sureforce swap now, but it might be too late.
Action doesn't stop here. Fire Strike and Nano onto Gamsu. Big Bionade hits Decay and Sureforce, but they cannot capitalize on those kills, but they open up so much space. It's all of the Gladiators have to peel back over towards the throne. The cart is already rounding that final corner. The minute and 15 left in the bank. No ultimates available now for the Dragons. That Earth Shatter and EMP going to be the next closest ones that they have. So we have a full-on neutral fight here between these two squads. And thinking back to Oasis, that's where the Gladiators came out on top.
Absolutely. This is going back to the traditional comps that we normally saw throughout this season of Overwatch League. Ding is winning the race versus Shaz right now. That could be the turning point, but I mean, look, when you lose this fight, that's when Shaz is breathing a sigh of relief, because he's like, I'm no longer under so much pressure to absolutely do as much damage as possible and get that healing done so I can counter this. He knows he's got the opportunity now. There's only 30 seconds left, and for the Dragons, you know, you're hoping Ding can somehow thread the needle, find Shaz in the back, but then you've got to contend with Big Goose's ultimate as well. They don't have the grab. This is the problem. Exactly what you said. The neutral game is going in favor of Decay every time Zarya versus Zarya, so you know, you don't have that counter.
Grab instantly out from Decay, builds up that energy. The bubbles come through to try to keep Coma alive, but it's still not going to be enough. Decay just does too much damage. Gamsu going to be charging back out to safety, but there's only 10 seconds remaining. Somebody's going to have to try to tag that card. Ding is waiting on the sidelines in stealth, starts sprinting his way through the castle. Will be able to tag in the end, you would expect. Yes, barely makes it there in time, but he gets picked off by Sureforce. They finish him, and that's as far as the card's going to make it. No chance at OT rounds now. Gladiators just going to be looking to push past that, take the 2-1. We'll see if they can get that done here.
Yeah, I mean, the Pharah play worked out in the end, but it was short-lived there for C. They had a weak time bank. There's not a lot of time to develop the EMP grab strategy. And, you know, it's the neutral game that the Gladiators are winning. When it's more of a mirror, they're ahead.
Solid defense here for the Gladiators. Let's see how they fare on their attack.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Justice reigns. Heroes never die.
Area denied.
And here we are. Shanghai Dragons could not make it to the end of Eichenwalde. They got pretty darn close, but were halted by the Gladiators in the end. Now they get ready to go on the attack. And if they can exceed that push, they will have match point now with a 2-1 lead.
It's the Pharah Widow defense again here. This particular composition, the one you see on your screen, is very popular right now. Only other variation being the one with the Sombra. And it's something that the Gladiators are going to look to try to counter here from spawn if they can get a lucky shot. But after, you know, Dragons are smarter than that, they do swap over to traditional 3-3. This is very risky to run this, especially on this map against a good team at running the Widow Pharah, because it puts so much pressure on, in particular, Roar, because he has to block damage coming from multiple different angles. He's going to be dealing with the Pharah rockets and DM, not to mention all the extra damage coming out from Luffy, for example.
So Surefour going to be moving over onto the Roadhog, it would seem, with Decay on the Widowmaker.
So this variation helps you break through the front. We saw Jonak do this earlier on Paris as well. You know, it's usually the flex supportive swaps, but in this case will be Surefour. And you're looking to grab a kill and then just out-sustain on the point.
Good shots coming through onto Ding. He gets stunned up. Surefour actually hooking him down onto
go.
that low ground. Was so worried, so focused on Decay. And Surefour comes in from behind, gets that hook, and puts him in an early grave. Gamsu nearly getting hooked there. DM under some pressure will have to peel back, so Surefour just kind of gating everybody else away from his squad, away from the point. Now hook in, Gamsu taken down.
You can't contest this once you lose control of it versus a Roadhog, basically. It's so hard to re-enter.
Yeah, Luffy now going to be eliminated. Youngjin taken down as well. And like a very fast cap here on A for the Gladiators. See whether or not they want to stick through with this comp after this finishes. 2 ticks for now, going to be snagged. Ding going lower and lower, nearly has a barrage. Would have to be a huge one if he wanted to stop this push, but he's not going to get the opportunity. Just gets taken down by Surefour in the end. 4:45.
I don't think you even keep this necessarily. I think you just swap over, and well, that happened.
It kind of out of nowhere, comedically, Decay's body just crumbling to the ground.
They're gonna stick with it though, and this could be really good. Obviously, the Winston in particular, the Primal Rage could be good on this point.
Well, Decay gets straight back into the game, starts doing some work. As Ding gets taken down.
Another hook by Surefour, no follow-up, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was on the Youngjin. Able to keep himself safe. Rez is there, so Ding back into the mix of things with that barrage still online. Surefour fishing quite literally here for that kill on the DM.
Cart's not moving though, and you gotta start having concerns about that when you're not able to get these follow-up kills.
Up onto the top. Says, yeah, come try to res him. See what happens.
He's got a hook in a second here. Might be able to pull that Mercy right out of the sky.
Yep. Sees the shadow.
Yeah, he's not able to catch her.
Point's been knocked out of the back in the meantime. The beat comes down from Big Goose. Ding gonna be eliminated. Surefour finding that kill. Rez comes back through, but the whole hog from Surefour takes down Coleman. Now takes down Ding again. And Surefour is just, not to say that his team's doing poorly. He's not really putting them on his back, but they're happy for the piggyback ride right now. Surefour is just popping.
Sitting at a flat 60% hook accuracy, 6 out of 10 hooks are resulting in a pick. And that's exactly what this comp is designed to do, is to get a single kill, then allow the card to move forward and the Gladiators to use as few ultimates as possible to win the ensuing fights. And Shanghai's just not taking those fights. They're walking away because they have to. And now the card's rolling around the corner. Looked weak for a moment there, but this is really coming online now.
Roar. Antide has to use that Primal Rage to try to make his way out. Can get a couple knockoffs here, perhaps.
He's gonna get him.
Oh, Gamsu slides right off the edge. He can't make it back over the top. Nearly got another one there on the Ding as he is then swapped onto that Diva. The bomb over the top from Void manages to find Luffy, but DM burns down to Baby Diva, denies that remake away. Decay just sitting in the back, completely unhindered, taking these pot shots, helps eliminate several members from the Shanghai Dragons. They're still trying to hold out hope here. Good headshot there onto DM, but a bit of HP back, and it seems like this will not be the cap on B quite yet for the Gladiators.
If there's no Diva on the field, you can put your Widow in that spot, and you basically just have free reign. It's almost checkmate in terms of damage output, but as soon as Ding comes back and the mobility is there for the Dragons to threaten Decay, he has to back away. And now we're going to see the swap over to 3-3.
Yeah.
But it's very late. The Dragons are already ahead 60% on ult charge for the Zarya. And you gotta really have concerns about building a trance in fast enough time. As soon as they see it, 2 Dings, like, I'm swapping over to Sombra. I can cheat ult economy here. I can set this up for a 2-minute defense on the bridge. We can absolutely make this happen. Gladiators, they almost made it happen there with the Roadhog, but it wasn't enough in the end. And now you've got to start feeling a little bit scared.
Pushing in aggressively. Roar already taken down to about half HP, as is Decay. All of the Gladiators. He beat it battered in the hack on now, Void. Means that he cannot make it back up. Gets taken down in the pit. The cleanup comes through. 3 ultimates. Going on 6, really, for the Shanghai Dragons.
This is...
The EMP will not take long to build.
This is a tragedy for the Gladiators. I mean, they were so close yet so far, and that's the story of Eichenwalde's bridge. I mean, since the Apex days, you hold here, it gets so much harder. You swap compositions. You've got such a long walk back to get to the bridge itself. They've got high ground into a choke they control, and the ult advantage, not to mention the EMP that can, force the trance out. He doesn't even have a trance. He might build it in time for the EMP, but it's double ults.
Nearly there. Big Goose does have a lead as far as that barrier is concerned. Dropdown comes in. Shaz nearly melted. Big Goose going to be dropping the beat. Doesn't quite catch the Zenyatta. Now they're going to be stacking the ultimates on top of each other just to survive this Graviton surge. But Ding is still waiting. He's got that EMP ready to go. 24 HP, trying to win out versus Big Goose, but he has to peel back. In the meantime, Gamsu has been eliminated. Drop down, back over onto the cart. Luffy going to be eliminated as well.
Such a great defensive fight for the Gladiators. And so big for Big Goose to nearly kill Ding there. Forces him to translocate away. Makes it so he can't EMP. He's taken out.
Oh my goodness, that is a crucial pickup. Decay finds him there right when it matters the most. Up onto the high ground, Coma. Manages to drop the beat, catch 3 members, but DM still going to be taken down.
They needed to hold here.
Well.
They needed to hold here.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen. Gamsu going to be eliminated. Cap coming in, a bump up on the time, 1 minute and 35 seconds left in the time bank for the Gladiators. Move over to that glowing box right where Decay is standing. DM split spawn, taken down.
All right, now
will make it out.
The Dragons need to build that Graviton Surge, and they don't have, unfortunately, a rally to kind of guarantee that build. They may just have to EMP here straight up. And Shaz just needs to hide. If he gets caught, the Dragons can win this fight and flip things on in their heads.
EMP comes out, catches absolutely everybody. Shaz does get caught by that one, but he hasn't been eliminated yet. Now uses the transcendence, but it's a second too late. Roar got taken down just moments before. Had he been able to live, maybe this could be a fight for the Gladiators. See if they can still pull out a win, but backed into a corner like this just does not seem like it's going to happen. The rest of the team trying to run away.
That's exactly what they needed, though. They needed to hit Shaz. That was possibly, we'll look back at this game and remember that as the game-winning moment, because now the trance is used. It's not good enough, despite the fact that he somehow was able to live there, the Maniac. But DM has Graviton Surge here. This grab will build another EMP. We're at, in terms of ult economy, checkmate here for the Dragons. There's no way the Gladiators can turn this around without support ultimates. They're going to need a pick. It's going to have to be a charge, a void bomb, something like that. They're going to have to go through this choke, too.
I mean, maybe even an E with a defense matrix. We haven't really had too many of those today. Maybe Void can come up clutch now.
They're going to need a miracle.
Fury was falling short before. Grabs online, throws it down onto the pillar. Roar falling low, drops the hammer, doesn't find anything. He's been taken out. Pack goes forward. Onto the K, he gets melted down as the grab comes in. They need the kills. They manage to find 2. Luffy and Youngjin both going to be eliminated. Ding is still alive. He nearly has the EMP online in Coma. Nearly has that next sound barrier. Transcendence burning here from Shaz. The K swaps over on to that
They
Sombra.
need that sound barrier so badly. Coma needs to drop it as soon as he gets over there. They need it.
Big Goose also has his online. Roar going to be hacked. Cannot raise the shield. Nearly gets taken down. Barrier comes in. Responds to that EMP. 3 members still going to be hacked. Short 4 eliminated. They need to win the fight. Roar going to be taken down. Gamsu coming out clutch right now with these kills. Filling the kill feed. They're off the cart. Someone needs attack, but they cannot do it. And the Shanghai Dragons, they hold them off. They move up 2-1.
What a defense for the Dragons. Ult economy advantage there. They used it well. The Gladiators put up a great fight. This is some high quality Overwatch we are watching. Great stuff here. Great play from the supports, but it wasn't enough in the end. The damage output too great for the Dragons.
Well, Escort coming up next. Let's see if we can make it to a map 5 or Shanghai closes it.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Shanghai Dragons, baby, barely able to clinch
Shanghai
out.
Dragons, baby.
Yeah, woo! Barely able to clinch out that victory on Eichenwalde with a nail-biter of a defense. Now lead 2-1 in this series. And if they can close out on Dorado, our final map, then they will have the win.
I think
Gladiators, though, going to be looking for that map 5.
I think it's important to remember the history of these two teams as well. And in that, the core of these teams and the Korean parts of them are for a team formerly known as Gongdu Panthera, now known as Griffin. But at that time, I mean, the final iteration of Gongdu Panthera split into these two teams. And in terms of the Shanghai Dragons, I mean, they are, I mean, we're looking at the support line for them to be the big carries. I mean, Koma, Lupi, and Youngjin are the Gongdu Panthera members that really are coming up big. And for the Gladiators, I mean, Void is coming up big. You know, we're seeing Roar get some consistent pens. I mean, this is a really close series, and it's fun that, you know, these are teammates clashing against each other again.
Yep. As we saw there, historically, not a great map for either of these teams. I'm sure everybody remembers the infamous Youngjin C9 on the cart just after point A.
Yes.
But Gladiators as well, no wins so far this season on Dorado. So let's see if they can pick up their first and extend us into that map 5. For the Gladiators fans here in the arena, make sure you give them your energy. Shanghai fans as well, make yourselves heard.
Yep, this
you want them to come out on top.
Surefour once again, by the way, to bring it back to the compositions here, running the Roadhog, looking for picks, worked very well around corners on Eichenwalde, and he's gonna try for it again.
Oh, looking for that halt hook. Doesn't quite find the connection though. And around the back, right clicks in, trying to take somebody down, but so far hasn't found too many hits, and Void gets taken out of the back by DM.
Even the Pharah doesn't have a lot of room to avoid hooks here on this part of Dorado specifically. It'll get easier, you know, as we head into B, but in this part of the map, it's really easy to hook a Pharah if she gets overextended or runs out of fuel.
Back up over the top. That's gonna be Koma.
Same to the Mercy, obviously, who's attached.
Attached to the hip, basically, so does find one. Roar going lower and lower, and Void is taking a nap again. Seems like Will being safe this time around, though. Surefour just still pushing forward, trying to break down that break shield. Really finally done it. Takes a breather. Keeping himself topped up. So slow moving, looking good for the Gladiators overall as they try to get that cart rolling through. Void shifts his way over there. Okay, dangerously low, gonna get taken down. Youngjin swings away. I mean, that's just so far forward with the Widowmaker, but the kid doesn't have any sight lines otherwise.
Here's the barrage.
Barrages come in. Shad's gonna be taken down. They push up into the sky. Big Goose actually the one who comes up with the kill, and does manage to res Shaz back into the mix of things. So potential here for the Gladiators to try to win this fight. They get rid of Youngjin, but Shaz gets taken down.
It was great
Heart
that we
still
got to
halted.
see Void's perspective as well during that moment. As you can see, instantly just hit straight to the barrage.
Ooh, headshot on the Roar, throws down that barrier to try to keep himself safe. Slowly getting top back up, but Ding actually goes forward, manages to find the kill. Void, however, takes down Gamsu in the supercharger. DM gets picked off. Rez comes in, puts the Orisa back into the fight for the Shanghai Dragons, but is that going to be enough for them to hold them off? Right now, nobody is on the cart for the Gladiators. They need to get that moving, but Void's just going to get knocked into the mech and melt it down.
Both these teams playing such a scrappy game right now, but Ding comes up with another pick here with the help of Koma's melee.
Oh, hook comes down. Oh, he doesn't get the pick. Thing actually stays alive, up in the air. Now the heal that I throw down onto Surefour. They will be able to finish him off.
I mean, the thing is, he should be leaving, Surefour should be leaving before this moment, before this opportunity. Even getting a kill there isn't going to net you much when you have to walk all the way up to A. It's a pretty long walk from the spawn here. And Roar swapping over to Winston. And I think it might be time for Surefour to do a similar swap, you know, potentially over to the Brigade. He has Whole Hog here, but it's not going to net you much against the setup for the Dragons. It might break Gamsu's barrier and lead to an opportunity for Decay, but otherwise, I mean, it's not really going to be the game-changing ultimate here.
Besides out.
Yeah, sightline's tough to get until that's broken, though.
Yeah, everybody is behind that barrier other than the pharmacy comp who's coming down from above. Barrage online for Ding. Already found a kill on the Shaz. Now knows that there's no chance of getting slept, but there's always a chance that when you're that low in HP, Decay can body shot.
That was all Void. He pushed him out of his, you know, safety zone there and gave him that line of sight.
Void still taking poke damage here. They lost Roar. Decay stunned up, taken down. Luffy finds that kill. Therefore has to take a breather as he escapes around the corner, but we're down to 25 seconds. Shanghai Dragons looking for the full hold right now versus the Gladiators. They need to turn something around if they want to go to that map 5.
I don't think the Roadhog was going to be the way there. I mean, they could stick with it here and hope for a Hail Mary hook, but you're going up against the Orisa barrier. You just don't really have a way to get the hook angle, unfortunately.
It's the only ult they have. I think they actually kind of have to stick through with it now. They've shoehorned themselves into this position. Void pushing forward, will be able to tag the cart. Short hop there for Aurora as well. Shaz taking some pressure into the back as the rockets continue to rain down from Ding. Mirage still going to be online. Whole Hall comes down from Short-4. Void around the back. Decay going lower and lower. Mirage comes in. They get pulled together. The D-Matrix is there. Shaz still going to be taken down. Ding gets slept and finished off by Short-4, but they need so much more than that. Koma actually miraculously finds the res in the middle of all the chaos, puts things straight back into the fight. OT gonna start ticking away as Gamsu finishes off Short-4. Void gonna be knocked into the mech. Somebody has to tag in. Big Goose gonna fall. Roar cannot make it. And the Shanghai Dragons look absolutely clean. Clinical defense here on Dorado. Now, just have to not be held more by the Gladiators, and they take the set.
Mixed emotions in the crowd as well, as these are two fan favorite teams here. I think a lot of people in this crowd wearing a Gladiators jersey are also Shanghai fans. I mean, it's okay to be a fan of more than one team, but it is a stressful time if you're on the Gladiators side right now, because it is not common to full hold on Dorado, especially not in this meta. Especially when you have teams that are at this close of skill level between each other, it's pretty rare. And the Dragons are more than doubling the eliminations right now. And you've got to look at, how long they put Short-4 on the Roadhog there. It started out okay, but it just doesn't have the staying power. You don't have any big ultimates to break through. Where's the EMP? Where's the Graviton Surge in this comp? You can't deal with the Pharah because she's behind sight lines. You're not able to get a line of sight for the Widow, for Decay there. And the Hog just isn't giving you any additional pressure to break through, and
it's just held for way too long. At the beginning, I liked the idea of it. Got that nice pick on Tacoma at the beginning, but it still wasn't enough for them to push forward and actually make it into A, bump up that time bank. So now they're in such a high pressure situation where they have to win every single fight. The cart does not have very far to go, just basically parallel with the fountain inside the marketplace, and then that's it.
If they were gonna run a comp to win this map on defense, it'd be this one, or it'd be the Sombra variation. The best comps you can run to hold for 4 minutes on this map. They're going for the safe part, the safe plan rather, with the regular Reinhardt Zarya 3-3, and Ding just pelting them from a distance.
Well, drop down, playing aggressively. It's kind of how they have to play. They will come up with the first kill. Youngjin going to be taking down. Nice boop there from Ding. Tries to push them back out into the team, and Void actually up on the approach. Gets slept midair. Very nice accuracy there from Luffy, but they're unable to punish him fully. They can't get him out of the mech. Now Short-4 going to be taken down. DM finds that kill. Card's still going to be halted here for the moment, but now Decay going to be gone. The majority of the damage eliminated. Big Goose tagged up. One more shot would finish him off, and Ding is there for it.
If Void is dealing with the Pharah, he's not dealing with the Widowmaker, and that means extra damage. This game looks like it might just be all about wrapped up here at Killers. They're going to have a Primal to engage back in on, but I mean, Ding has free reign right now, and whenever they focus on him, DM gets the headshots. It's an incredible combo with potentially the world's best Widowmaker here.
I mean, we've been singing the praises of the Gladiators playing around Ding with that Sombra, but now it seems with that Widowmaker, with the Pharah in the mix, they don't really know how to cope. Void nearly knocked out of the mech. The barrage comes through, finds 2 kills instantly. Decay and Short-4 hit the ground. Ding looking to put them across that finish line and close out the series with a 3-1. Jump over into the side, straight into the bubble, and Shaz goes down. Only managed to find Luffy, but the res is there from Koma. Need the full 6-stack back into the fight. Void gets taken out of the mech. They push through, and the Shanghai Dragons, they find their victory here in front of the LA crowd by taking down the Gladiators 3-1.
Very impressive series by the Dragons, showing multiple colors, showing multiple strategies, but really ultimately relying on Ding. The core of their team this entire year from week 1 has been around this flex DPS player. It's on the Sombra, it's on the Pharah today, and he finds the angles, he gets that damage on that pressure done, and this is a big statement after the loss against the Valiant, and it also almost says more about the Valiant than anything else as to how much they've improved recently. When Shanghai takes this 3-1, what does it mean?
I mean, transitive properties. LA Valiant's the best LA-based team. Is kind of what it means now. But they have been looking improved. But this is, I think, going to be a big wake-up moment for the Gladiators. They still need to expand their horizons and get used to playing around multiple DPS characters at the same time, rather than just a Sombra, because they struggled here in this set. And with teams like, especially like London and even New York, picking up triple DPS and whatnot, heck, I mean, 5 DPS if you're Florida, you need to be prepared for that kind of stuff in the future. But guys, we do have Danny standing by on the floor with, as you said, maybe the best Widow in the world, DM.
Wolf and Achilles, thank you very much. That is who I am standing next to. One of the best Widowmakers, DM from Shanghai Dragons. Congratulations on your victory. Now, this week you guys actually faced off against both LA teams, LA Gladiators and the Valiant yesterday, and it was pretty drastically different outcomes in both matches. What was different in your personal opinion about those two matches? 이번 주에 LA 팀 두 팀과 좀 경기를 하게 되셨는데 상해 팀이 결과는 굉장히 달랐어요, 두 개가. 좀 어떻게 다르고 그 두 경기에 대해서 좀 더 설명을 해주셨으면 좋을 것 같아요.
LA 발리언트 전에서는 처음에 떴을 때 이제 붙었을 때 이겼으니까 뭐 그냥 그대로 가도 되겠지 하고 안일하게 생각했다가 이제 그 안일함이 패배로 갔고 이제 글래디전에서는 이제 글래디다 보니까 좀 그래도 유명한 팀이잖아요. 실력 있는 팀. 그래서 무시 안 하고 저희들이 엄청난 연습을 했고 그 연습을 이제 대회에서 보여준 것 같아요.
발리언트의 경우에서 좀 이길 수 있을 것 같았다라고 말씀을 지금 하신 거죠? 근데 지게 된 거고. 알겠습니다. So against the Valiants, we sort of thought throughout the game we sort of thought that we were going to win, and I feel like we felt like it was going to be an easy game, but it wasn't, and that's why we got defeated against the Valiants. But for Gladiators, because they're famous and they're one of the top teams in the league right now, we really grinded and practiced hard, and that's how we won against the Gladiators. And also talking about back-to-back matches, you guys are going to be going up against Guangzhou Charge next week once, and then in Atlanta the following week, who are also, the Guangzhou Charge are also known for their DPS comp, just like you guys. How are you guys going to prep and how are you guys going to win against Guangzhou Charge? 자, 이제 또 두 번 경기가 또 광저우 차지와 광저우 차지 팀과 또 있을 텐데 어떻게 하면은 상하이 팀이 두 번 다 이길 수 있을까요?
광저우 차지 팀이 살짝 고츠보다는 이제 딜러로 돌아가는 팀이다 보니까 같은 딜러로 피지컬 싸움으로 압도적으로 이기지 않을까 생각합니다.
Alrighty, because Guangzhou Charge is also known for their DPS comp and they don't really use or utilize the 3-3 composition that much, just like us, I feel like it's going to be heavily dependent on the mechanical skills of both teams, and I feel like we have the upper hand. Well, thank you so much, DM. Good luck, and back to you guys, casters.
Thank you very much, Danny. Good to hear from DM. Good to see that he's already looking forward to that next match, the battle of the DPS, perhaps, when they take to the stage versus Guangzhou.
I mean, I think that the way the series went is nothing really different than people expected. They thought it was going to be a clash between Gladiators safe 3-3 for the most part versus Sombra and far from Ding. It's just, I think, pretty crazy that they were able to close the series out in such dominant fashion once they broke through.
Right, fantastic stuff there from the Shanghai Dragons. Let's go ahead and figure out who our player of the match is, presented by Omen by HP. On the side of the Shanghai Dragon, it's going to be Ding again, scooping that one up. I mean, this could have been cut multiple ways. DM does make a very good argument, but Ding was just consistent throughout.
I mean, the thing is, right now, with how the wind is blowing for the meta, I feel like right now, every team who has a strong power player that they haven't really been using, Haksal, Libero, etc., this is the time to start feeling like in playoffs, you might be able to run a strategy like this. We saw it in our first series of the day with London as well, pulling out the Pharah. Didn't expect to see that from Fury, but here we are. Ding ends up player of the match. He crushed it on both heroes, the Pharah and the Sombra, and I think that we are going to start to see the evolution of this meta across all Overwatch League teams as we get closer and closer to playoffs. This is a really exciting time to be an Overwatch fan.
It certainly is, and we have a very exciting match coming up to round out the day. Vancouver Titans getting ready to go up against the Chengdu Hunters. If you guys remember the first time they clashed, it was insanely close. It was a fantastic series. So let's see what happens the next time out. UberX will be bringing you that one in just a few, so stay tuned.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.